Here's a question for you. What college are you going to? Don't know. Or maybe you think you do know. I'm going to this school here. Why? They're cheap, scholarship, financial aid. Uh, Ding dong, maybe. But what I think would be a better question is, what are they offering you that actually pertains to after college? What do you want to do? What do you love to do now? Let's say, I love skateboards. Let's say you love skateboarding. Let's say it's what you do all the time. You're knowledgeable about the boards. You got a part-time job in the skate shop, or maybe you just love hanging around them. You love going to the X Games, etc., etc. I'm not suggesting be a pro skater because what can you learn in college is to make you a pro skater that you're not going to learn outside. But my thing is, love it. Why not own your own skateboard shop? Why not design skateboards? Why not do any number of things? I mean, let's see. Skateboarder is a style. That's fashion. There's a look with music, you know, entertainment industry, commercials, television, entrepreneurship, owning your own business, designing your own things, graphic arts. These sound like college courses to me, or majors of study. And all based on a small desire, a small activity, a small hobby, a passion for skateboarding. That's how you should think of college. Think of it as a gateway to connect what you love with the world that allows you to sustain yourself, a potential family. Because to pursue it any other way is just to lead yourself into eventually a midlife crisis. You'll be eventually doing a job you hate or don't really have that much passion for, and you can't wait to get out of by the time you retire. And the whole time, putting up with it, not actually enjoying it. Why not enjoy it? Imagine if you around work you were surrounded by people that talked about the same things you love to talk about. So many people are stuck around people they can't stand because they don't know anything about what they love. They can't pass the bridge of coworker to friend because of how different they are. Not to say you won't work with different people or people that are alike, but wouldn't it be better to try to surround yourself by more positive things about what intrigues you than potentially negative things? You go to school for business. You want to run your own business. That business being about skateboards or whatever your passion is. You learn about management. You learn about customer service. You learn about communications. You learn about finance. Or let's say halfway through you start a business, or you don't have the capital to start a business. It's going to take you a while. Pay off student loans, whatever. Well, you can work for a bank in finance. You can work in any number of businesses with business management, hotels. You can do anything. And it all builds back towards you pursuing your dream, what you love to do. Oh, well, I'm going to pursue medicine because it makes money. Do you enjoy that aspect of helping people? Do you enjoy that particular aspect of service? Do you enjoy medicine? Do you like hospitals? Do you want your own practice? Do you want to go through that length of education? If so, absolutely, go for it. Go for it with all your heart. But if it's not where your heart is, you need to ask yourself what kind of compass you're following, because it's following you in a circle. It's taking you in a circle. Pursue what you love and connect it to the concrete reality of making a successful living. A successful living, not just making a living. Any idiot can make a living. That just requires getting a paycheck that has a net value of covering the costs of your daily expenses, plus some smidgen of savings. Successful? You are enjoying what you do. By the time your retirement comes around, you don't want to retire. You've built on top of the progress to where you're not so easily outshined by the next high school graduate or 20-year-old in your field because you're that good at what you do. When you love what you do, you become better at it. In college, in high school, in school, in life, you absorb like a sponge more information about things that interest you than things that don't interest you. And I'm not saying that you should only learn about things that you already know about. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that things that pertain to the interests that you have, that build upon the psychology of intrigue that you already have, further extends them. For example, how I connected skateboarding into all these other different things. There you go. Let's say you love spies, right? You got the whole James Bond thing going on, but you really don't want to be dodging bullets, but you just love the fascination with spies. You're nostalgic for things like that. Well, you could get the job with the government. You could have a top security clearance, hearing things that only a select few people in the world get access to, and you could actually be following and being ground support for actual spies. If you want to be in the military doing top secret things, you could do that too. If you want to be a fireman and eventually become the fire marshal, it's so much that is an opportunity. But to follow for decades a career path that you have no true passion for robs you of your own future. It robs you of the happiness that you could have. And happiness is measured with stress. The stress that you don't have versus what you do have. And if you really want to know if it matters a lot, look around. Ask your parents, ask your neighbors, ask your friends. Ask the people that you see on a daily basis how happy they are with their job. If they love to do what they do. Why they love to do what they do, or why they don't. Ask yourself, do you want to be that type of person when you turn that age? If you don't have to be. And the more happy you are, the longer you live, the less problems with your health you have. The happier you are with what you do, the more interested you are with what you do. The more interested you are, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more experience you have. The more experience you apply. And you're going to move up the ladder, building on what? The bottom line. You're making more money, doing bigger things, more successful. Now this is for the most part rhetoric, but it's my level of common sense. I don't understand why you should go to school and fudge around for a year to figure out what it is you want to do. You're spending time, you're spending money, whether or not if it's a scholarship, financial aid, or out of your own pocket or the pockets of your parents. Within that, you have the curriculum that has deadlines, papers, assignments, projects, tests, exams. Your responsibility has already begun. And from there to graduation, assuming you make it there, you're on a ticking clock. So ask yourself, how much time do you really have to mess around and figure out what you want to do? That messing around usually involves going to parties and drinking and being promiscuous and all those things during a time of your life that will count the most after it's passed than any other period in your professional life. So again, ask yourself, do I really want to just mess around and figure out what I want to do? And if you're already in school, if you've passed the freshman year, if you're point blank, if you're in school, this is how you should already be thinking. If not, get there. Figure out what your career is. Why? Because when you're going into school, assuming you're not there already, and even if you are, you can apply this on your particular level. But I'm approaching this from the aspect of an incoming freshman. You get in there, you know what you want to do, good. You've already investigated the school. You've already figured out exactly how their programs are going to factor into the specific aspects of your career that you want to pursue or have a great interest in pursuing. Well, next up, you should be looking at potential employers and or places to intern. One and the same for me, as I consider it. You should be calling them up saying, hey, how many graduates have you guys gotten from this school? How interested are you from getting graduates from this particular school? Because schools have names for a reason. Their reputation. See how you can use that to your advantage, because it's the purpose you're even there. To get not only the experience and knowledge, but the reputation of being a graduate. Make your diploma mean something. As you're investigating schools, investigate the interests employers have in those chosen career fields. And even if you want to work for yourself, you got to start somewhere. Even if you've gotten as far as to building a business model with potential costs and loss, call up potential banks and ask them, how much does the education of your potential entrepreneurial loan, and I use that term in a way that isn't really used, as in you're the entrepreneur trying to acquire a loan to start your business or launch your product or whatever. Call them up and ask them, aside from having a good credit score, etc., what other characteristics do you look for to help enable you to grant that loan? If you learn what they're looking for, you can seek out these types of questions and classes and courses and professors that have a heavy and successful emphasis on these things that they can teach you. It's why you're there. Even people that have done their tenure outside of school and been successful and came back to teach because they want to pass on their knowledge further. And even if they're not at your school, if they're a guest lecturer, maybe they'll come to your school if you write them and ask them. Work something out, because college is for your benefit only. It only benefits you. And I say that in the way that says, don't disregard it. Obviously, if you're the first in your family, it benefits your family. And quite honestly, your education benefits everyone in your life that are there to stay. But what I mean is, it should be of the most value to you. If it's not, then you got to ask yourself why. And I think it would fall back on your long-term ambitions and a loss in connection between those and where you are. In short, your college is a resume for your job. If you're going to be your own boss, you should make college a blueprint to start it. But that concept of, I'll figure it out my first year with no clue as to where you want to go, sorry. You need to get serious today. Now. The world is changing at a rapid pace. And a year transforms lives. So you got to ask yourself, can you really afford to put it off another day? because this exhaustive search is going to be compounded by all the assignments, projects, and deadlines the older you get and the more time that you spend in school. So while you don't have a whole lot of deadlines, you should be using the heck out of that. Let's say you're a senior in college right now. If you still don't know what you want to do, you need to seriously look at who you are and ask yourself, not just who you are, who you want to be. This goes for everybody. This is the common reasoning I believe should guide our lives. What I believe is common sense. But as you look around, you see a lot of people that don't have what you consider to be common sense, because it's not so common. Common sense is basically reasoning that we expect other people to have because it's common to our experience of life. So common we believe that it's standard, or should be. If it sounds like a whole lot of work, it is. But it can be a quest. And as you know, the word quest implies a long journey. It is. But at the end of a quest, if you are successful, yields great rewards. But a quest is not easy. A quest takes you into different parts of different places that you may or may not have even known existed. You will go through trials, and you'll discover parts of yourself that will make you better. And if you survive the test of character, it will take you farther. And the destination will only be worth having gotten to if you went there and arrived. Because the point of considering that it's up to someone else to decide something for you is over. You're older. In other countries, particularly countries that are in competition with the United States, they strongly emphasize this on a traditional set of values that some in this country choose to uphold and try to implement more strongly than others. But it's the sense that you stand on your own feet. You're responsible for yourself. And the time to mess around is, for the most part, inappropriate unless you have your priorities in line. Because it only serves to scatter those priorities even further, which is of no benefit. Oh, I'm young. Well, I have time for that. Time disappears faster than you can believe. And the concept of I worry about it when it comes seldom works out for people. Because every situation that you can contribute to luck, consider it this. If it was luck, it meant that it could have so easily went the other way. Oh, and some people have such even-roaded explanations by saying, oh, you can plan as much as you can, but things can still go wrong. Yes. But if that's the case, why go to school at all? Why get a job at all? Why learn anything when it could just all end up being knowledge that never goes anywhere? Because we know better. Remember that. You know better. We know better. We're the next generation. Our generation is here. We're not just here, we're almost there. Our time in the sun is just around the next corner. And we're already starting to make that turn. So the attitude of a 5-year-old that doesn't need to think about those kinds of things, that can let all control be around them to the people that take care of them, That's their mentality. That's the world they live in. That's a single digit number. Once you're past 16, you need to really start getting your head on your shoulders. Once you've gotten out of high school, you really should have your head screwed on right. By the time you're in college, you should know where you want to go. By the time you leave college, you should know where you are going. That's how it works. If you look around and you don't find people that are that successful, that should be more reason for you to be successful. If you're surrounded by girlfriends or boyfriends that aren't trying to better themselves, you may love them to death, but it's time for you to separate. If they're not going to try to better themselves or be inspired off of your triumph or attempt to better yourself, you gotta ask yourself, how long are you going to let them hold you down? If they're not holding you down now, they soon will be when you get your mind right. Because at that point, you're going to be going through the anxieties and pressures of getting things done, making your own personal best every time. And people that suck the energy out the room by saying it's not possible, it's not done, it's something you shouldn't worry about, you get at ease with that reasoning. You start to buy into it. You have to separate yourself from it. And that comes to making the hard choice. It doesn't matter who it comes from. Restraint is another thing. From when to speak out and when not to. If it in the long term doesn't serve your best interest, despite how much respect you feel other people should have for you, respect of self comes with doing things for yourself that take you to better places after the moment's passed. If someone else's words don't hurt you, just anger you, then let those words fall. Fall into a dead place that breathes no life. But if you follow those words, that's exactly where it will take you. Onto a road that goes nowhere. Oh, well, nobody can speak to me this way. Guess what? They have taken control of you. Their words have triggered a set of irrational actions that hardly ever make you feel good. It gives you more moments of looking back and saying, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish this had never happened. And as the consequences increasingly get more severe, from losing friends to losing freedom to losing money to losing time to losing opportunities, you will find that you'll look back at those moments and say, I wish I hadn't done that. Turn those moments into moments of, I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad I had never let things like that get to me. There was a time when I would have let that get to me. That should be the type of person you want to be, in my opinion. In my opinion. If that's also your opinion, then what's stopping you? And if you're already doing it, keep it up. No one can stop you from being the type of person you want to be. And if you feel someone is, then the next plan should be, how do I get them out of my life? In a way that continues to make me successful. Because we're creatures of habit. Just doing something for the sake of doing something and not sticking to it isn't really helpful. And jumping to the extreme doesn't help us either, unless we're truly mentally braced for that extreme, especially if it's all we've ever known. We have to progressively push ourselves and push ourselves and push ourselves, like exercising. You can't run an extreme distance your first time you want to get in shape. You have to build to it, but you have to stick to it. And the small things that slow you down, piece by piece, you got to strip away. And it's a change that should be welcome. Who am I? I'm just a guy who's learning every day how valuable this wisdom is. I'm a guy who's frustrated when I look around and I see people my age and slightly younger, slightly older, behaving with the mentality of a 5-year-old. The immaturity, the lack of direction, the extreme anger and confusion because of the world they see and the world they wish was. The world we want to see is within us because we're the ones that make that world. Every new idea, every new boundary exists when someone says, so that's where the line is. The walls are in your brain. The barriers are not physical, they're mental. You have to determine where the point, what point you won't get back up. You have to pick the direction to go in. All you can do is listen to the intuitions that you already have, what you know to be right about yourself, what you know you want about yourself. After you secured yourself there, then you can start thinking how you can really help others. But most of the time by doing that, you've already started helping others. So, young women, young guys, young gals, young people, look in the mirror and don't see what you like to see. See what you need to see. See the person you are. See all your flaws. And see all of your triumphs. See all the success you want to have. See all the success you have. See all the success you don't have. And draw a line. One from the past, one to the present, and one in the future. That future should be where you want to be. Once you've done that, follow it. Pursue it with all your heart. If no one supports you, support yourself. If to support yourself, you end up abandoning everything you know, suck it up. If you happen to have a welcome wagon and lots of friends around you that support you and want to go with you, do it. One way or the other, you've got to do it. You have to do it. Or else you're going to not... The consequences are real. It's your life. We only get one. Now, there are those, and I'm going to wrap this up because I'm about to push a half an hour. There are those that college isn't right for them. I can understand that. But equally, you should be following through on things just as heavily. To know it's not for you is to already know what you want to do. Not what's going to bring around the most money. Money's everywhere. An unemployed person is getting a government check. A criminal is running an enterprise. There's money for everyone. It's how you want to get it and what you're willing to deal with to get it, and how long you want to deal with it to get it, and how much of yourself you want to better at the same time. How happy you want to be. That was the string. You thought I was going to endorse all that stuff, didn't you? I'm just saying it's out there. So to constrain your ambitions simply based on what you think's out there, forget that. Base your ambitions on what you want out of life, not what you're willing to settle for, not off of a paycheck. Do you know how many paychecks you'll get between now and retirement? And you want to base it on a few of something you're not even that interested in? People get married and divorced more times. I think jobs are a dime a dozen. Industries rise and fall within our lifetime. We're watching that happen right now. Do you really want to pick a job only based off the money? I want to work my entire life for someone else. Do you ever want to work for yourself? And if you don't, will you be happy? If you are, go for it. See, the thing is, I'm not here to tell you what direction you need to pick in life, but I'm suggesting that the direction you pick should be your own and should be one that you want to do, one that will actually make you happy, not someone else. It's all for you. And with that, don't blame anyone else for whatever happens. Every day is a lesson, every day is a test. Those who see tomorrow, their satisfaction tells you exactly how they passed, or if they passed. Make every day you live worthwhile, starting with today. Good night.